All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hitzemann, County Court Judge here in Hernando County. You folks are here for your first appearance. First purpose of the first appearance is so that you may be informed of the charges against you. I'll determine if probable cause exists for those charges. Probable cause simply means that it's more likely than not that a crime has occurred, and more likely than not that you're the person who's committed that crime. Of course, as you stand before me today, I presume that you're innocent of these allegations. That presumption of innocence will stay with you through every stage of the proceedings, unless and until the state attorney's office is able to prove the allegations against you beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. We'll set your conditions of pretrial release this morning. That is your bail or your bond. In most cases, you've had a bond set already pursuant to the bond schedule here in the 5th Judicial Circuit, or the warrant which led to your arrest. I'll determine if that bond should be raised or lowered or left the same, or whether there'll be additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date will be. If you'd like to have the services of the public defender, I'll gladly appoint the PD to represent you this morning. You do have a right to have contact with folks on the outside, family, friends, counsel. If you have not had an opportunity to make that call, please let me know. We'll make sure that that happens. Finally, and most importantly, you're advised that you do have an absolute right to remain silent with regard to the facts which surround your arrest. I encourage you to do that. These proceedings are recorded. In addition, there is an assistant state attorney in the courtroom with me. If you say something that tends to incriminate you, they will use it against you in the prosecution down the road. I now need each and every one of you there at the jail to please raise your right hands and be sworn. I'll solemnly swear or affirm, tell truth, whole truth, none but the truth. Outstanding. When you hear your name called, please step forward to the podium. Bridget Eisenhart. Morning, Bridget. Date of birth? What's your date of birth?
2/25/87.
All right, Bridget, this is a probable cause arrest for violation of community control. There is probable cause for that charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public? I'll appoint the public defender. Of course, the bond's going to be no bond. I will send you back to court on the 4th of June. Public defender's going to come see you before then. All right, Bridget?
Thank you.
Thank you. Amber Ford. Morning, Amber. What's your date of birth?
7/3/95.
Amber, I have 3 charges this morning. I have child neglect, I have possession of marijuana, possession of drug paraphernalia. There's probable cause for all 3 charges. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State, what can you tell me?
No prior criminal record.
All right. And Amber, I have an address for you on Grapewood Drive in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes.
And how long have you lived there?
Since the 1st.
Do you have a job these days?
I have 2 jobs.
What do you do?
I work as a CSR at Circle K. Been there for 2 years, and I'm a crew member at Wendy's. Been there for about 6 months.
Okay. I'm going to set your bond at $500 on each charge. That's a total of $1,500. As far as contact with your child goes, that will be pursuant to whatever terms and conditions the folks at the Department of Children and Families come up with. I assume they're involved in your life now. If they are not, then I'm not going to limit contact, but I'm sure you've got to deal with the folks at DCF now. I'll have you back in court on these charges on the 4th of June. Very important that you contact the public defender's office when you get out, all right?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Carmela Liata. Morning, Miss Liata. What's your date of birth?
12/19/63.
All right, Miss, I have 1 count of possession of drug paraphernalia. There's probable cause for that charge this morning. As to that charge, you're going to represent yourself. You're going to hire a private lawyer.
It's my medication. So
Or would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Could you release me and have one?
Well, See, this is how this works. And maybe you haven't been through this many times, but I have. So if we go through in my order, that'll make it easier for us. Would you like the public defender?
Yes, please.
I'm going to appoint the public defender. Mr. Church, what can you tell me?
This is not her first time going through this.
Okay.
Let's see. Larceny in 2009, petty theft 2015. Let's see, another petty theft in 2016. Possession of harmful legend drug without a prescription 2016. DUI 2016. Possession of a controlled substance 2016. 2016, another Willis. Possession of a controlled substance 2016, 2 of those. Violation of community control 2016, and a possession of paraphernalia 2016. Now, I don't know if she had a prescription for all those.
Okay. Ms. Liotta, I have an address for you on Dothan Avenue in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived there?
I just moved in there.
Okay. How long have you lived in Hernando County?
I lived there my whole life. You know, I took almost past 2 years and then back into there again.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
I'm disabled.
Okay.
With my kids.
All right. I'll set your bond at $500. I'm going to have you back in court on the 8th of June. Very important that you contact the public defender's office when you get out, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Sean Bartolas. Sean, what's your date of birth?
11/5/87.
All right, Sean, I have a driving under the influence. There's probable cause for that. Then there are 3 other charges, which are a possession of controlled substance, actually, which is the THC oil, the keeping of a vehicle for the purpose of drug activity, and a possession of drug paraphernalia. We're going to find probable cause state for 1 and 3. I'm not finding it for count 2. My understanding of count 2 is it involves some sort of sale or something like that. This doesn't appear to be the case.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So there are 4 charges, Sean. I'm finding probable cause for 3 of them. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire a private counsel, would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, Steve.
Appears to be his only criminal charges.
Okay. All right. And Sean, I have an address for you. Looks like River Road in Spring Hill. Is that right?
No, sir. I just moved to a different house a few months ago.
Okay. What's the new address?
It's 6216 Wayside Court, Spring Hill, Florida.
Okay. And how long have you lived in Hernando County?
11 years now. Going on 12.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I'm a bartender.
Okay. Where do you do that?
The Cove in Hernando Beach.
All right. All right. On the hang on a second. I think they gave them different agency case numbers, right?
It would appear so, yeah.
So I can separate them date wise because it looks like they did. They gave the DUI different case numbers. Okay, on the DUI, Sean, I'm going to set the bond at the $500. That one is coming back June 8th, right? Yeah. That's a Friday date. Yeah. On the 8th of June for arraignment, and I've appointed the public defender. On the other charges, counts 1 and 3, I'm going to set the bond at $500. On count 2, which is the one I didn't find probable cause for, that's ROR. So your total, all the way around, is $1,500. Also appointing the public defender for the marijuana-related charges. Those charges are coming back on the 4th of June. So unfortunately, you got 2 court dates, Sean, June 4th and June 8th. Very important that you contact the public defender's office when you get out so they can help you keep this all straight, okay?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Thank you. Gary Caples? Morning, Gary. Date of birth?
3/29/1964.
Gary, I have two charges today. I have a felony retail theft and a dealing in stolen property. There's probable cause for both charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel, or would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll point the PD today.
It's a lengthy record involving robberies, thefts, fraud, some batteries, and lots of FTAs that goes back from today to the 80s. Suffice it to say that the best way to secure his presence for court is to keep the bond where it is or increase it.
What's the last couple of years? Because I know I've seen it.
Just
hang on, Gary, hang on a second.
Failure to appear 2015, possession 2015, theft 2015, failure to appear 2015, another failure to appear in 2016.
Okay. Hey, Gary, I got an address for you on Jason Drive. Is that where you're living now?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
About a week, but I've been in Hernando County all my life.
Right. You have a job these days?
I did have, yes, sir.
What were you doing?
I was doing stream enclosures and gutters.
Right. Okay.
I have an animal that you tend to ask for the
Gary, I understand how inconvenient all of this is. I really do, but we're not going to get anywhere with that. I'll leave the bond on the theft at the $2,000. On the dealing, I'll set it at $5,000. So your total is $7,000. Both of these are coming back June 4th. If you get out, you should contact the public defender's office right away. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Jerry Gore.
Morning.
Morning, Mr. Gore. What's your date of birth?
10/20/79.
All right, Gary, I have a warrant for you out of Pasco County. The judge that signed the warrant found probable cause for a violation of probation, looks like on a driving on a suspended license case, and then set the bond on that warrant at $5,000. I can't change the bond on that out-of-county warrant. If you have the ability to post that bond, you can get out of jail here, go down to Newport Richie, and find out when they want you back in court. If you cannot post that bond, they'll be notified immediately and told that they have 5 days to come get you. It does not take 5 days with Pasco County, but if for some bizarre reason you were still here 5 days from now, they'd bring you back to see me and I'd find out what the problem is, all right?
Okay, is there any way you can arm me?
I can't do anything with the bond, unfortunately, Jerry. It's not only is it a different county, it's a whole different judicial circuit. I know we're neighbors and all, but I can't touch that bond for you.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Terrence DeJanes, incoming. Nice catch. Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
11/16/66.
All right, sir. You're here on a warrant that was signed by Judge Neal. He found probable cause for one count of felony driving on a suspended license. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll point the PD's name.
Let's see. Possession of paraphernalia 2010. There's a theft in 2016. Grand theft of a motor vehicle. I'm not sure what the disposition on that. Oh, it was dropped. Okay. Some cases are better than others. Manufacture of methamphetamine 2010. Possession of marijuana 2010. Possession of meth in 2008. Felony Willis 2008. Another possession charge 2009. Another Willis 2009. Failure to appear 2007. Possession of cocaine 2006. And let's see, it looks like there's a marijuana charge to go with the cocaine.
That's good, Mr.
All right, thanks.
Terrence, I got an address for you on Star Road. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long you been there?
About 8 years.
You have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
Pasco Aluminum. I'm an installer for.
All right. Terrence, I'm going to leave the bond per the warrant, which is the $2,000. I'm going to change your date. They told you June 8th. The right date is June 4th. So you'll be back in court on the 4th of June. Very important that you contact the public defender's office when you get out, all right?
On the 4th?
On the 4th. That's when you're back in court, but as soon as you get out, you should call the PD's office.
Okay.
All right? Thank you.
All right. Yes, sir.
John Hale? Morning, Mr. Hale. What's your date of birth?
January 26, 1981.
Mr. Hale, you're here on a charge of battery being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD state.
Lots of hits on his rap sheet, but I can't find much of a criminal record.
Okay.
Looks like there was a dropped Willis, 2015.
All right. And Mr. Hale, I have an address for you on Riviera Court in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived there?
3 years.
Do you have a job these days?
I work for the post office.
Okay. And does Melissa live there on Riviera with you?
Yes, sir.
All right.
And she also works for the post office.
Okay. I'm going to set your bond, John, at $500. The condition of the bond, however, is that you'll have no contact with Melissa until we get this case resolved. No contact means no contact of any kind. You don't call, you don't write, you don't email, you don't text message. You don't have a third person contact. You don't contact her through any social media. You don't go where she lives. You don't go where she works. You don't have any contact of any kind. Any way that you might imagine contacting her, I forbid you to do that. If you have contact and we find out about it, your bond can be revoked. You can be held without bond until the charges are resolved. It means no contact even if she wants the contact. So if you answer your phone and hear her voice, you should hang up. If you're out and about and see her, you should turn around and run the other way. You need to understand that she cannot drop the charges against you. That is not a decision she gets to make. She may go to the state attorney's office and tell them she would like the charges dropped. She may tell them she's not interested in pursuing this matter. But that decision belongs solely to the assistant state attorney handling your case. So unless that person or the judge on your case tells you the charges are dropped, you should assume they are not dropped and you should not have contact. In addition, I have to hold you today up until 4 p.m. so that if she wanted to serve you with a civil injunction for protection against domestic violence, we'd know where to find you. If you get the civil injunction today, it's doubly important that you not have contact, because in that case, not only would your bond in this case get revoked, but you'd also get a new charge, a new criminal charge for violating that injunction. As far as the address on Riviera Court goes, as long as Melissa chooses to stay there, you'll have to find someplace else to stay until we get this case resolved. You certainly can go by one time to grab your clothes, your toothbrush, whatever you need for wherever you plan to stay. But to do that, you must contact the sheriff's office first. They will meet you there with a deputy who will stand by while you pick up your things and get going wherever you're going. We're going to have you back in court on the 8th of June. It's very important that you contact the public defender's office when you get out, all right?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Thank you, John. Kenneth McDonald. Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
July 13th, 1950.
Mr. McDonald, you're also here on a charge of battery being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for that charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
The public defense.
I'll appoint the PD state.
No prior record.
All right. And Mr. McDonald, I have an address for you on Florian Way in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived there?
Approximately 10 months.
All right. And Lori lives there as well?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Do you have a job these days?
No, I'm retired.
What did you retire from?
Nursing.
Also going to set your bond at $500, also with the condition that you have no contact with Lori. Did you hear me explain no contact a moment ago?
Yes, I just have one question, Your Honor.
Sure.
Okay, I have a call, because this was my residence. Lori was living at a hotel, okay, up until yesterday. Okay, and basically I have a car there that I'd like to get. It's my car, and medications and stuff like that I need.
Right.
So follow up with the sheriff's office?
Right, exactly. Same thing, Ken. You call the sheriff's office first. They'll arrange a time to meet you there, but don't go over until they've worked something out so that the deputy can meet you there, okay?
Okay.
Also have to hold you up till 4 p.m., so if she wants to serve you with an injunction, we know where to find you. And you will also be back in court on June 8th. Very important that you contact the PD when you get out, okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Montrell Morgan. Morning, Mr. Morgan. What's your date of birth?
March 21st, 1999.
Mr. Morgan, you also have a charge of battery being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for that charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel, or would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, Steve.
No prior record, Your Honor. There's a chance this could get upended to a felony child abuse or a felony battery, depending on the medical records.
All right. And on Trell, I've got an address for you on Spring Haven Loop. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And does your brother live at the same address?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
I have an interview today
Okay.
for a job.
All right. So I'm going to set also your bond at $500, also with the condition that you have no contact. Were you listening when I explained what no contact means?
Yes, sir.
And you understand that?
Yes.
Very good. Also have to hold you up until 4 p.m., so if he wants to serve you with an injunction, we know where to find you. And also with that address on Spring Haven, if he stays there, you'll have to stay somewhere else. You can go by one time, but you must contact law enforcement first. I have you back in court on the 8th of June. Very important that you contact the public defender's office when you get out, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. George Nash? Morning, Mr. Nash. Date of birth?
1984.
Mr. Nash, you're here on a warrant. The judge that signed the warrant found probable cause for one count of felony petty theft. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, Steve.
Let's see. Resisting without violence, 2016. Possession of controlled substance and a failure to appear on that same case. Possession of paraphernalia, 2016, and some marijuana, and another possession of controlled substance, 2016. Fraudulent use of credit card, 2015. Probation violation, 2013, on a fraudulent use of credit card. Multiple charges of that, 2013. Battery on a person 65 or older in 2013. Probation violation from another battery, felony battery in 2010. Probation violation on a grand theft that occurred in 2000.
Alright, that's good. George, you got an address for you on Darby Lane in Brooksville. Is that where you stand these days?
Yes, sir.
How long you been there?
About 3 years.
You have a job these days?
Supposed to start work tonight.
Alright. I'm going to set the bond per the warrant, which is the $2,000. We'll have you back in court on June 4th. Very important that you contact the public defender's office when you get out, alright?
Your Honor, can I ask you a question?
Sure can.
When I got in trouble at Walmart, they wrote me a citation for a retail theft. Okay?
Right.
How did it get enhanced to a felony petty theft? This is my first petty theft charge.
Okay, well, they seem to think that they can prove that you have other convictions for theft charges. That's why they filed the charge. And it doesn't have to be a prior petty theft. It just could be any prior theft. So.
Okay, I thought I was under there had to be
Well,
more than one.
it can be as little as 2 petty thefts, but any 2 thefts will do.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, George.
All right.
David Navarro.
Morning, Your Honor.
Morning, David. What's your date of birth?
July 17, 1986.
David, you're here on a warrant that was signed by Judge Merritt. He found probable cause for violation of probation. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel, or would you like me to appoint the public defender?
PD would be fine.
I'll appoint the public defender. Bond on the warrant is no bond. I can't change that. I'm going to change your date to the 29th of May. Public defender will come see you before you go to court on that day, okay?
Thank you for the earlier court date, Your Honor.
Thank you. Yep. And Adam Weeks.
Judge, Judge, it's my understanding he resolved his felonies
Good
recently.
morning, Your Honor.
And he has 169 days.
And Adam, you recently resolved the felony case, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And what did you get on the felony case?
25 months and 5 years probation.
Okay. So you want to take care of the misdemeanor with time served?
Yes, sir.
Very good. You understand by entering a plea in this case, you give up the right to have a trial by jury, the right to confront the witnesses against you, the right to remain silent, but you're willing to give up those rights so we can resolve this case today.
Yes, sir.
Case number 17MM3791 is the charge of petty theft. How do you wish to plead? You can plead no contest.
No contest.
I'll accept that plea, find that it's freely and voluntarily made. I'll adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 30 days in the county jail with credit for 30 days served. Finding court costs is $620 and $100 for the public defender's office. That takes care of the misdemeanor. There should be nothing else holding you up from getting where you need to go. Is there any restitution stated?
Believe it or not, $1,650 that should be joint and several with Adam Weeks.
All right, so ordered.
Or co-defendant. I don't know how it's joint and several with himself, but
It's not. All right, so that takes care of it, Adam. You're free to go to DOC and get that out of the way, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you. And I have a Timothy Parsley.
Yeah, that's an interesting little situation, Judge. He was up on first appearance hearings on Tuesday.
Okay.
And when I saw the statute, I reported to the court and to the state that, as far as I know, since 2003, that statute's been considered unconstitutional.
All right.
The judge asked for a plea offer. I was not appointed.
Okay.
The judge asked for a plea offer. He took a 30-day plea.
Okay.
And he has since spoken to Joshua Alexander in the jail that afternoon. He'd like to withdraw his plea, is my understanding.
Okay.
And I understand that the state does not have an objection.
the state's not going to object, Your Honor. The statute has been changed subsequent to the Supreme Court decision. However, an Attorney General opinion says that it is still unconstitutional and hasn't adequately addressed it. So I'm not opposed to him withdrawing the plea, stipulating to a recognizance in ROR so that we can hash out the legalities of this particular statute.
Okay. All right, so this is 18 CT 1492. I'll grant the motion to withdraw plea. Is it going on the 8th? Or yeah, because okay, so I'm withdrawing the plea. We'll set him for arraignment then on June 8th and release Mr. Parsley on his own recognizance today.
And we have never been assigned.
Okay, and I'll appoint Mr. Parsley, you want the public defender?
Yes, sir.
I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You're going to get ROR. You should contact those folks as soon as you get out, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. And that should do it, right?
Yep, that's right.
Very good. Thanks, folks.